Alright, so we've loaded into a renewed and rather resurgent Hissen Kaifa campaign. We have paid off all of our debt. We still have low crown land, but it's only at 28.3%, which is not bad. We have a relatively full manpower pool, and we have 32 of 36 army units right now, although that will go down when we lose some from autonomy. Our autonomy really, we're not in a horrible situation here, but it could be a little bit better, especially on the recent conquered territories. But we are done, I think, right now with decreasing autonomy. There's no real need to do it for that last ditch, getting everything we can out of our economy in every single instance. So we are going to have to put down a little bit of a revolt. So let's increase our army maintenance, and we will go up to the biggest that we can support right now here, 36,000 troops. We're fabricating on Hassa, reason being that Hassa is allied with Shamar, Yas, and Ajam. So if we take a look at that, relatively weak alliance chain, and it picks on Ajam, who has re-allied the Mameluks right away, so I'm glad we took this land from them. We can probably get away with taking another defensive idea here, and basically exploiting their other allies is how we're going to inch Ajam away from the Mamluk sphere of control. And the reason we have to do it that way is because the Mamluks, unfortunately for us, have 89,000 troops, which we can go nowhere near actually fighting competently at the moment here. We're not going to make our ruler general. He's 61. I want him to survive as long as possible so we can get this 533 into the kingship. Interesting. Increase of 0.23 a month is really not great. Okay, so we're at 90% with the Mushashan separatists. If we do want to take a real quick look at the world here, the Commonwealth has actually beaten Muscovy in a war recently. France did integrate Burgundy. Naples is under Castile, not Aragon. But Aragon's under Castile as well, so they have managed to now finally make the most of that. We'll probably get away with placing a resident scholar, but I have enjoyed the high legalism, which was basically how we crawled our way out of debt, was making use of that piety interaction quite often. We do have +1 passive tick toward legalism from the religious idea set, which we are trying to finish. I'm trying to go over to Deus Vult, in part because we're paying a 50% penalty for not having colonialism. But if we look at that colonialism map mode, it's making its way through the Ottomans right now. They've already embraced it. It's going through their territory, and as soon as it does, we'll get it from them because, well, they love us. So I see no reason to spend 50% extra monarch points on something like that at the moment. So let's turn that off right now, just so we don't have way too many indicators. And we can get a general here. I'm tired of waiting for this with my army maintenance raised, so we're going to invoke that revolt. Okay, very nice. Troops performing relatively well. Okay, bad. And we will drill everything while we wait for those men to be replaced here. Yeah, okay. 1531 before we can take more land. We did unfortunately fail that agenda, but it's okay with me. We could hand out a monopoly here for the mercantilism. If we look at our trade, we're at 16% mercantilism, which is very low. It's because we were relying on guild loans for quite a while, and that does have an impact, a very definite impact on your mercantilism. Every time you do it, you lose, I think, a couple mercantilism. Not quite sure what the exact number is. Let's take a look. I lose 1 mercantilism. So this is driving our mercantilism down instead of up, not the direction we exactly want that to go. You could put another cannon in each of these, but then there would be an odd number in each stack, and that's just not gentlemanly. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we go up to 4. We could drill for a little while, and if I get our professionalism up some, we're still getting 6.5 ducats a month, even through drilling. A lot of that's coming from taxation, some from knowledge sharing, since we're sharing Renaissance with FARS, because they still don't have it, which is frankly just embarrassing for them. And we are starting now to get a little bit from the Ottomans here in Erzurum. If we look at that, plus 1.56 a month, that'll be actually pretty quickly accepted there. And most of that just comes from friendly nearby province has colonialism. Plus we have this, nice 30% spread modifier. So if we go in and take a look now at buildings, we could build in Tbilisi, but I want to adopt colonialism as soon as we can. Our innovativeness is down at 2.9 because we have spent so long with some really, frankly, poor mana point generation. Our first king was not great, he lasted for a while. 433 is not bad, but we've had it for a while, and moving up to a 533 would be significantly moving up in the world. Our plan basically right now is move into this Basra trade node, move down into the Saudi Arabian peninsula through Hassa, take some things from Ajam as well while we're at it, and get strong enough that we can call in the Ottomans to fight the Mameluks. This also means that we want to weaken the Mamluki allies. Right now that means Karaman, Ajam, As, which clearly will be gone, and Mercuria. So really, other than Ajam, that's not anything that's very bad for us. Let's see. Unrest in return for +1 base production. I'm going to take the Merchant Guild loyalty because we're going to be seizing land again soon. So if we weaken Ajam considerably, then they won't really be an issue. When we go in on the Mamelukes, it'll be us and the Ottomans going in against them alone. Mamelukes basically fighting alone at that point, which will not do well for them at all. So, let's see. We can't do parliamentarianism or States General because we have Victa. I do like States General oftentimes, so we'll do General Estates. We'll increase our production modifier by 10%. Nice economy boost now, but particularly in the late game when these things are worth more. Yes, about a ducat a month more now, which is pretty nice. And let's see, which month can we do this again? A 103, so on the 3rd of January. Okay, so we could get another trade idea, but I think we're going to save up for Difficult Tech 11 first, because the additional, if we look now, we have a merchant in Aleppo, we have one in Persia, we have one in Basra, and we really don't have very good trade anywhere else. Losing a little bit of innovativeness, that's fine. We don't have any really to begin with. Yeah, so we need to get in a better position for trade before that'll really make that much of a difference. I took it because it has some good policies with defensive and religious. It also will be very relevant in the later game if we do or don't have this, and to use Diplo points while we still have, again, these admin and mill point idea groups that aren't completed. So let's take a look at which scholars. I'm not really worried about that. So we're allied with the Ottomans and the Mamelukes, so our aggressive expansion will build up very slowly with them, and they're about the only people I care about for things like that. Let's take that, and then what we'll fabricate a claim on the next largest, let's call it Katif. Let's stop drilling, and let's bring our forts up, and prepare for war, once more with Ajam, but more importantly, with Hassa. Actually, those are both pretty important. So we could bring in Fars, we could bring in the Mamelukes for promises of land, because their ruler is cruel. I don't think we need them. They would break their alliance with the Ajam again, but they just remade it last time. I have no reason to think that they won't this time. And bringing in Fars... Okay, they're at war. Who are they fighting? Attacker against Timurids. Occupied by Sistan. Okay. So Sistan's nearly won that war. It's pretty much over. We will probably fight Fars eventually if we do consolidate Ajam and we, go through Greater Persia. Okay, so our troops are up and ready. So let's end that spy network generation. And declare war here on Hassa. Call in Fars and make this for the conquest of Basra. I could promise the land. No, I want to see if we can stand on our own 2 feet here. Let's go down to speed 3. Okay. I want to get through the fort at Rasht, and I want to get through the fort at Basra quickly. We could consider carpet sieging these, but Shat is protected by the Basra fort, the allied fort there. And I want to get Ajam out relatively quickly. Unfortunately, we don't have any forts of our own down in this area, so it might actually be better to bring these 18,000 men around and let's beat up the Ajami army here a little bit. They only have 3,000 manpower reserves, which is basically nothing. So if we can work our way through their men, they won't be able to reasonably replace it outside of mercenaries, which I'm fine with at that point because it ruins their economy, and this favors us anyway. They are sieging a little bit. Yeah, so if we can, cut off these 10,000 men on something other than mountains, that'd be pretty good for us. Let's take their isolated. Well, it's 6-1-1-0. 6 is... Well, we have 5. Yeah, I mean, their guy's better, but not by all that much. We are still working through this siege here at Basra, and they're running. But they're running onto the drylands, which, it's worse than fighting on our own highland fort. But that they're running from us means that we should expect a good result. We of course roll a 0, but they roll a 1. And if their 5,000 men make it there in time, we will struggle with this fight. What I'm hoping for is that, yep, okay, so let's hope that they get locked in. Yep, they're locked in, and we've already won the other fights. Now we get a very nice and easy fight there against the AI reinforcements. So it almost went really poorly, but instead actually worked out quite in our favor. That's 5,000 men completely dead. We'll see if we can follow it up with these 4,000. And then we can rescue Kazina from occupation as well. We do have to worry a little bit with those 10,000 men coming up. While our morale is damaged, we're not exactly in a good position to fight them. But the month tick increases our morale a little bit and gave us some reinforcements back in. We could go after Rabba here. I think we will. If we take a look at the Ajami army here, they're down to 15,000 men, 4,000 in reserve, which is pretty good. We'll take the 10 prestige there. And we have caught 5,000 Shamari troops. We'll go back over, try and catch Hassa on the Highland Fort as well. I wish we were reinforcing a little bit faster than we are. We don't have that advisor available. And we're reinforcing fast enough. It's not like it's terrible, but having an additional 2,000-3,000 men would make this go even better for us. We'll take the move toward mysticism, and this is obnoxious. Let's see if we can get them locked in. Do Araka, we can. And ooh, the fight was right after the month tick. I quite like that. Yep, very nice. We have a lot more morale than they do because of that 15% bonus from defensive ideas, and it's paying absolute dividends right now. So let's go up here. I doubt we'll be able to catch those men up there, but if enough reinforced, they might hang around just a little bit too long. Unfortunately, we don't have any maneuver on this general, so we won't be moving quicker than they will. We could try to roll a new general, but I want to get up to Miltech 11 sooner rather than later, plus, not to mention this land maintenance modifier would be pretty good for us to get to. The Farsi troops are not really doing all that much. It looks like they keep trying to cross this strait, and they have finally managed it. I'd almost rather they didn't. I would have preferred that they were working into the back of Ajam. And we will be able to catch their men here. It is our own mountain forts. Those 4,000 men should be completely dead and gone here in a second. And, you know, if they do unsiege that one province for us, I guess that works. Let's go ahead and replace a resident scholar now, since we're just diving into 0 piety, I guess. Tech cost, AE, dev cost, legitimacy. We don't really need the shock damage right now. We're out of that sort of zone. We might take that when we get closer to fighting Mameluks, but for right now, really, I'm not sure what we want to do. Anyway, the legitimacy might actually help us because we do have a very weak claim here, and if we die, which should happen soon, we might end up with some pretty low legitimacy. So that modifier would be pretty good for us. We've won the siege of Basra, and we might be able to trap them here if they're not careful at Wasit. So I'm bringing my other 18,000 men down. We have caught them in that battle. That looks like it's going okay for us. Fars is conquering Qatif. They might take that for themselves. I'm not exactly thrilled about that, so let's go ahead and occupy Grana. Okay, we'll go back up here. We should have just gone to Rasht. I want to take Lejan from them. It's gone up from 21 to 25 development since we first got a claim on there. And that would be pretty wonderful for us to have. We do still have a claim on it, on Rasht and Ajam, although I was on the wrong map, I'll click there. So what I'm thinking is we can leave Fars to siege Qatif. We can start moving into the Malamir or the Kuramabad ports. It does risk a little bit of occupation. Hassa is moving around again with another 8,000 men. Ajam's army has been pretty brutalized. But they won't give out even a white piece yet. We're hoping for much more than a white piece here. Another 1,000 men dead, and we have enough cannons. If we look at this, we're getting... No, we're only getting a +1. I think my cannons are slightly... No, I only have 2 cannons. Okay, so after this war, we do need to get more cannons. We can afford it now, although admittedly barely afford it now. If we take a look at institutions, at 86% in Erzurum, that'll start spreading through our heartlands, which should be pretty nice. We will have to potentially watch out for that siege, because this is... Oh, I mean, it's a level 2 fort. What we can do is we can go over to this state, and we can put in the defensive edict, slows down their siege progress modifier by 33%. So now we're at +57 for defensiveness, and every siege phase is 47 days. If you take a look over here, they're at 43%, which is also pretty nice. But it slows them down to being about on par with how slowly we have to move. I am a little bit concerned about the carpet siege, but we need to get Ajam out of this fight, so what I'm thinking is we'll work on one siege at a time. And we'll keep clearing out their military here to prevent ourselves from getting into a bad situation. Hassa did take the occupation of Qatif, but we can tell them now to try to move into these mountain forts. Maybe they'll do it. They might not. Maybe they will. Hopefully they will. It's 15,000 men. So we'll catch 1,000 here in Sinjar. And... we'll go in on these 9,000 in Diyarbakir, then come back down and see if these Ajami troops are still down there. We're making good progress against the overall war target, but again, we need to make good progress specifically against Ajam to make this really pay off for us. I don't know why they're just sitting there. Oh, they're dancing. Ever since the patch, I've been getting a lot of this sort of behavior where they just... Like, should I go in? No. Should I get in? No. So, yeah, they do one optimization, and of course, they bring in the need for another. And as long as they're taking the long way around here, we may as well do our own thing. I think I want to take Wasit and Samawat, just to occupy more of Ajam. Admittedly not much, but it's, you know, every little bit counts here. We are taking quite a few losses. We look... We've lost 24,000 men, roughly 8,000 of that to attrition just from sitting on these forts for so long. Kind of unavoidable. And let's go in against, let's see if we can catch these 5,000 Ajami troops. We'll have time before Shamar gets around. And it does look like Far's caught them. We can back them up there. We could potentially make that a stack wipe. We do have to, so in order to get a stack wipe, you have to more than outnumber, or more than double. They might be able to do it on their own. Yeah, well, not quite. And they're not going in on that siege like we had wanted them to. In fact, we might be better served going down to Qatif, trying to fight these 10,000, well, almost 11,000 Ajami troops down there, to prevent them from rescuing this fort in Hassa. I'm hoping this will fall any day now. We do have full 12 from how long we've been sitting there, so this won't really get any better for us than that 49%, which means, you know, it is a coin flip every time. That should eventually work out well for us, and we can go in, maybe take this fort. It is a capital and a level 2 fort, so that will be a little bit difficult. Take that philosopher. Yeah, we're just going to have to play a little bit of ping pong, I guess, trying to kill their men. So if we go and look at, okay, we'll have to actually occupy that province to take it. So Ajam still won't give us even a white piece, just because they have so many forts that we haven't taken from them. It's going into Baghdad, so we'll cut him off through Wasit. And yep, we've fought from there. Oof. We'll take the corruption. If we're gonna die soon, I don't want to lose another stability on top of, you know, dying. And we'll go into Qazvin. If we can get through the fort at Qazvin, then we'll be at Qom, which is the Ajami capital. It does look like Hassa will probably get caught by Fars, unless Fars just makes idiotic mistakes like that. Let's go ahead and split, and take Samawat as well. Once we take their capital, we should be able to take what we want here. We did start this in 1532, so it's proving to be a bit of a long war, starting to actually drag on for money because of that corruption. We just got hit. Not super thrilled about that. Don't want to take any more loans, plus we missed out on our time to grab crown land because of this, so potentially should have done that a little bit differently as well. Let's go ahead and sit over on Karamabad. I haven't seen their troops. Okay, so that's where those 11,000 men are, which is just in that sweet spot where I would feel most comfortable sending an entire 18,000 men after them. But we do bust through the fort here. It is only level 2, but with only 3 siege modifiers, we've broken this fort. We should be able to get through that relatively quickly. We'll stop paying for corruption here in a minute, and that'll put us back in the ever so slightly positive realm there, which we do need because we have this in Erzurum, but if we go in and we look at our technology screen, it's not enough to even consider embracing, but our cost on that is going to be relatively high. 638 ducats from 30 other provinces on top of everything that we can see there, so this is at least at 900 ducats right now. Just for us to adopt that, so we're going to have to wait for significant spread because we clearly can't afford that sort of price tag at the moment. And I would like to keep us above 30% from here on out. That minus 10% tax modifier does add up in the long run. But no sense in taking this technology now. We're going to get a 50% discount here in a minute. And we've run through most of our innovativeness, unfortunately. We'll probably lose all of it before we get those next techs. Okay, so there's enough of them there. I really wish Fars would sit on the objectives I told them to. We are going to leave this siege. So we win at Cosmo. Let's go in at Qom. If we can get Ajam out of the war, then there's pretty much nothing left that's that difficult to do. They are moving to Kazina, so we'll try and trap them. Farmlands at Baghdad seems like a great location for that fight if we can get it, but instead Samawat, which is a marsh. We'll take mile penalties there. Could have gone in. Oh no, they will, because we beat them to it. Province travel times, because I don't think we have. Oh no, okay, we have 2 maneuver. Okay, that's 1 down, and we're now fighting against Hassa and Wasit. Going very well, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, we took more losses than they did, but we can afford to, and now we'll go scare Shamar off of Diyarbakir again. And take a look, we're at 74% overall. Take a look at Ajam, they will peace out with us. We need these two provinces, and they won't give us all of that. We need 68 war score against them, and we don't have that yet. We probably will once we take the capital, maybe one additional fort on top of that. Longer than I wanted to be in this war, but that's okay. It's nice to see that we can stand on our own 2 feet now in this region against Ajam is no Mameluks with nearly 100,000 men. They're no slouch either, and now that the Ottomans have started quantity ideas, I'll feel a bit more comfortable relying on them when we eventually have to break through the Mamluk lines on borrowed strength. We will only need to do that for the first couple of wars. We'll break their military pretty soon, we'll break their economy pretty soon. Frankly, probably break their economy first. Quantity ideas are very hard to actually exhaust your enemies. Manpower, we should consider going into that ourselves. It's kind of like, have you ever played multiplayer and somebody takes naval ideas? Well, you kind of have to as well, because otherwise you're going to be outclassed on the ocean. If somebody here takes quantity, if you want to compete with them, you either have to have endless money for mercenaries, which is, in my opinion, a bad idea because it threatens your professionalism. Maybe I value professionalism a little bit too highly, but I really do value it very highly. We just got played a little bit there with that evasive maneuver. Okay, so we died. We have a regency, but it ends on January 22nd. We'll get this nice 533 in. So he did live long enough for our requirements here. Unfortunately, I just missed catching these 4,000 men in Voiza? I don't know. Not sure. And there's the capital fort, Fort Ajam. So let's go ahead and see if we can get them to peace out. Not quite. Not quite. So let's occupy yet another one of their forts. If we had crushed their military, they probably would peace out by now. But we haven't quite pulled that off. Yeah, so this has been 4 years of war. But a relatively, I'd say, productive 4 years of war. We are just waiting here. Anyway, we also have now colonialism in Kartli, moving through very soon in cars. We need to get it into the second line here so we can really start running through these locations. And the alliance is breaking with the Mameluks. Can we fix this? Well, the builder says yes, we can. First off, World Match. That went away. We will probably need to push our trust up a little bit with them. We have the favors to do it. I hadn't wanted to because I want to keep taking their money. But this might actually be a losing fight for us. Maybe not. We need good rolls. Get a good one there, but it's on the fire phase, and their general is much better for fire than ours. Let's go ahead and take that local autonomy instead of paying. And they did pull out of that fight. Capture, well, we'll kill 1,000 of their men at Tikrit. And now that Ajam is being broken by rebels as well, they should peace out here, that they will. Let's take money. Not much money, I guess, but we'll take, yeah. Yeah, that's one increment. Okay, that's fine. So that's some very nice land for us. That's a mountain fort, this is a mountain fort, but the one at Astara, well, Ardabil is protected by Tabriz already, so Rasht is probably more useful. Yeah. You know what? I like having this guy here on that corner province with the Caspian Sea, so we're going to blow up this castle at Rasht, and those guys should move now. They're not our rebels, but we might have to go kill them anyway. Yep, they will move. Okay, so let's get out of dodge there. We'll go ahead and reduce our war exhaustion once to make recording a little bit cheaper. And we can... How much can we take here? Coalition would be Ajam and Transaxina, which I'm not really worried about. Can we just... We can take them outright. would get Ajam, Hassa, Transaxiana, Shamar, Dawasir, and Mazandaran against us. But that seems like a pretty good grab to me. On the other hand, we would actually cut ourselves off of being able to attack our allies. So we need to keep Hassa alive. So that's easy. We give them this one province down here, and I don't care. Everything else I should be able to pour, and this coalition will not fire. Not will we have the Ottomans and Mameluks back us up against those enemies. Oh, I have made a mistake. Fars occupied Al-Qatif, so we've given that to them now. Not what I intended. Really bad border war here, so for everyone who hates that, I do sincerely apologize. I don't enjoy it either. Just so happens that I've made it into being, so let's go ahead and royal marry them. We need military access to tamp down on the inevitable rebels that will come from this. And let's take a look at Shamar. We should probably go in, eat Shamar, eat Dawasir if we can, move down into Yemen and Najran, and sort of get a nice envelopment on the eastern side of the Mamelukes. So first let's go in with Shamar, we'll list my name right there. I do want military access from you, just so we can walk through to our other acquisition. And let's go ahead and mothball our forts. We are paying for rooting out corruption now, because we're no longer ahead of time in our technologies. So that's not saving us there. Okay, and we have our 533. 163 air is not exactly great. Let's go ahead and get that plus 2. We're at 1 piety. Oh man, okay. That's fine. Fair amount of good cores here, and let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and finish religious ideas. Culture conversion cost is down, loyalty up, base volt, max modifier. And we can come in here now and seize land. We're up at 31%, so we are above the 30%. We did lose a little bit of land when we took from Hassa. This is something you'll see relatively often in the early game before the Age of Absolutism. The AI will also keep relatively low land for much the same reason we do, and selling it off is very profitable. Helps keep you from going under. Okay, and we're going to have to increase our trust here to keep them happy with us. Okay, it's a little bit dangerous. Do they want land that we just took? Not really badly, but kind of badly. That's okay. And yeah, so Fars is not going to be our ally for very long. This is nice land here. We want Hormuz if we can get it, to really just start sending trade through Hormuz to Basra to Aleppo and collecting there. Could collect here as well. See what that does to our trade. 3.24 initially, which is just, I mean, that's just horrible. We have no monopolies on any trade nodes. Mamelukes have taken trade ideas and have better centers of trade in there besides. But yeah, collecting there does get us a little bit more money for right now. Mamelukes have probably finished trade ideas. They have innovative quantity trade. In addition, I think, yeah, plus 10% production efficiency, plus 10% trade efficiency, and plus 25% provincial trade modifier. So they get trade ideas and similar benefits for free, basically. That's why they're edging us out so tremendously. We actually had closer to 14 to 16% before that. We can invest in land maintenance modifier minus 5%, but I do want us to be able, so let's see, 949. Well, you know what? That's going to take a little while. Let's go ahead and take this cost reduction. We're not going to take the next one. That does give us plus 10% combat ability, which is not something I care about. I want Rise of the Equal. I want that core creation cost minus 15%, as well as that plus 10% goods produced at the end. You know, 5 discipline is not bad there. We are going to be going into probably offensive ideas next, for the discipline, for the better generals, for the siege ability, land force limit modifier, all of that is good. And we'll be up sitting at 10% discipline before even 1600, which should be very, very good for us winning the pound for pound fights. I'm still not entirely comfortable with quantity. I think it would be good for sure, but until we get good trade going, it's not going to be enough to save us. So let's also, Davosir's allied with Medina. Let's go ahead and start working on them as well. We're just going to be running through the Arabian Peninsula as fast as we can, consolidating all of this stuff, so it should be an exciting next couple of episodes, hopefully. So we'll go through here, we'll go through to Yemen if we can. The Dal will be a problematic ally for us to fight. We can trap them across the straits, and they don't have that many men. We're going to have to be watching our own manpower, though. That's the thing that's going to be slowing us down. And that's really the biggest reason that we would want to consider taking quantity ideas. The plus 50 there is, by the way, almost always worth it, because the 0.5 inflation that you get is less proportionately than you get rid of for spending 75 base admin points to reduce inflation. So we'll use that to reduce inflation instead of saving it up. Maybe not my best idea, but we're not going to get these technologies because we are... I mean, look at that. We've got it in 4 different provinces. It is moving through relatively quickly now, through Diyarbakir. Our problem, though, is we have some high development stuff now in the eastern side of Tabriz with Lahajan and with Baghdad. And let's see, what can we state? State this up here, that's good. It's not ideal. If we were fighting our admin cap, I wouldn't do that. We're not. And I want the money from Lahajan. No, quite frankly, I want the men from Lahajan. 11 manpower in that province. This should be built, honestly, toward coal and silk. Not building it that way is just very, very not optimal here. Of course, we could push this up a lot higher when the time comes. This will become a coal province, one of the few that we have access to. And coal gives you, I think, a plus 5% goods produced modifier across the board, which is very nice. We'll go ahead and take institution spread first. Usually I do take religious wars, but we're not going to be going in against other religions for a while. This is all Sunni, with even the Ibadi provinces down here are owned by a Sunni nation. Some place that would help us is with Najran, and that really doesn't help us. I'm not putting out a missionary. Oh, actually, yeah, Lahajan, that's now worth it. 38 months is not bad. Just had to lower the autonomy there, and we can't quite afford to do the state firearm regiments. Let's take a look here. We will adopt Khalifa and denounce sex practices. I don't know why those were unchecked for doing that when the ruler passed away and was replaced, but it was. So we have a claim on Shamar now. We do have a truce with them that lasts until 1550 because we should have pieced them out separately and we didn't. But we could get around that if we can attack Mercuria. Where is Mercuria? No, there's no way. They're in the list. But when those are ready, we'll go in, we'll eat Shamar, we'll eat what's left of Hassa. And in the meantime, we can work on getting through Dawasir, which it appears they're slowing down our... Well, okay, they're slowing down our growth there a little bit, but not by a ton. And we're saving up a little bit of money for that institution. Fortunately, we did add to cost there by coring and stating Lahajan. A pretty big increase to our costs there. But now if you go in and look, we do get plus 75% spread modifier because we took, among other things, that's institution spread bonus. We have full religious, we have converted provinces. We're not going to be able to unify Iranian provinces without fighting Mameluks. We could probably, well, I'm not really sure. Let's take a look at the Reformation, by the way. That could be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Ooh, England has gone Anglican, and now there is a significant Reformed and Protestant presence in northern Germany, so we should keep an eye on the religious war. if it brings in the Ottomans and not the Mamluks, we could be in a weak position if we can't hold that Mamluk alliance, which we're having some trouble holding. So we'll have to see what we can do. In the meantime, have they got someone else that's exploitable? We'll move toward legalism. Let's take a look here at Ajam. Unfortunately, no, we can't declare war with any sort of claim on Yas. Great Horde is not a functional force either. Asa, we have the truce with. Yeah, okay, well, that is what it is. It's a little unfortunate, but we'll get through it. And we will consolidate this land here in a couple wars. It won't take us all that long. We can get our only viable claim on Dawasir now, and they're allied only with Medina, which is over there. We'll take their money. We won't actually be able to take anything else from them. We have only half of our current manpower pool, so what I'm thinking is why not go for it? So let's increase our forts, give that just a hot second here. Dawasir has only 5,000 men, only one fort, their capital fort here it looks like, so we can just go in, carpet siege them, take this land, and move farther over to the west than we were previously. This might not be worth stating. Basra is 11 development, and it's not bad. It is a salt province. I think it's also a center of trade. Yeah, if we look here, it is a center of trade, so okay, we will state this. We're spending a lot of admin on this. We might want to consider getting a better advisor here, if there is one that suits that purpose pretty well, which National Unrest -2 would be pretty nice. Can't afford that cost. Not quite yet. A little unfortunate. I'd rather keep that national tax modifier guy for right now than move over to the increased missionary strength. And our core constructions are almost done. So I think when those are finished, we're in a pretty good spot here. I do have to sneeze. I've never heard any other streamer sneezing on their sort of things there, so I'm kind of wondering if I'm doing just a really bad job of it, because, you know, you guys can hear me sneeze, but plot twist, I sneeze occasionally, so gonna have to deal with it, I guess. Let's convert Basra. We are way behind now on admin, even with the losing that 50% cost. Yeah, that's not great. Let's see, which one of these? So, Mazarundun, that's where? Where is this? That's the north. So we'll go over to the north. We're gonna I think call this on the 1st of January. We are chugging away now toward embracing an institution. Could make our armies larger, but I don't think that's necessary at the moment. We're not going to be fighting anyone who really merits it for a little while. Well, we'll increase our armies before we take on Yemen and Adal, just in case they do gang up on us with a couple other minor nations. It's something you have to kind of get used to here in EU4. Don't disrespect minor nations. They can and will outnumber you. If they can swing it. Okay, Age of Conetary ends. That's fine, I don't really care. The other one's at war? No. Would they join us if we just broke an alliance? Yeah, they would. And we would have the numbers, but very slight. This is becoming more and more feasible. I do want to get a little bit more progress here in the Arabian Peninsula first, but this is now a bit of a 20-year goal instead of a 100-year goal. We won't be able to match Ludi with his 1577, you know, taking Kahira, but I'm relatively satisfied with how we've been doing. We've been out of the danger zone for a while. It might be less entertaining that way. That's certainly something I could see has a reasonable response to my style of play, but you know, that just is sort of how I am with this game. I don't particularly enjoy playing on the edge, really. I know some people do. I know that you can min-max a little bit harder when you do that, but you know, this is the first sort of let's play for this type of deal that I'm putting up on my channel, and quite frankly, I don't know if I have the skill to do the more optimal, edgy sorts of strategies, so I'll do what I can, and I'll hope you guys enjoy it. With that said, thank you guys for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.